Every October since 2011, Retro Movie Geek has brought you the spooky side of retro movies. And this year is no different. But remember, we spoil the hell out of every movie we cover. So consider yourself forewarned. Spooky Flix Fest starts now.
The crypt doors have opened. The shadows are stirring. And I'm finally back. That's right. Big D is back. I'm back for season 4 of Guess What? You're Wrong. Now, after a brief hiatus, we're back and we're diving headfirst into some of the best and definitely some of the worst horror flicks that you can find. And as always, we're going to spoil the hell out of any movie we discuss. So grab your flashlights, hide your snacks, and crack a jar. It's time to get spooky.
Enjoy the show!
Now, before we get into this episode too far, I just got a little disclaimer here. First off, all audio used in this podcast is used under the protection of fair use. And as with all of my movie reviews that I do here on Guess What? You're Wrong, we spoil the hell out of everything we talk about, so you have been warned.
Glow, a solitary figure where the Kandarian winds blow. His laughter echoes a deadite sound as he dances with shadows on haunted ground.
Hello and welcome back to another Be Kind and Rewind episode of Guess What? You're Wrong. Now I'm back for season 4 of my podcast, and the guys over at the Retro Movie Geek podcast have invited me back for another season of Spooky Flix Fest. Thanks a lot. Glad to be back. Now, this year I chose, oh boy, a VHS-sized can of zombie chaos from the 1987 cult classic, The Video Dead. Now, if you love low-budget horror, cheesy effects, and zombies crawling out of your TV, then this episode's for you. So go grab some popcorn, crack a jar, dim the lights, and hit play on this forgotten gem. Released in 1987, The Video Dead is a straight-to-video horror flick directed by Robert Scott. This was the era of VHS rentals, when video stores were bursting with bizarre horror movies competing for shelf space. If you grew up in the 80s and you visited any video stores, you know what I'm talking about. Right now, The Video Dead stood out with its wild premise. I learned to speak it one day. A cursed TV set that unleashes zombies into the real world. Think Poltergeist meets Night of the Living Dead. But with a budget that is, the film was made for about $80,000, and you can feel every penny of it, or lack thereof, in the grainy visuals and do-it-yourself effects. It's got the raw, unpolished charm that makes 80s B-movies so endearing. Written and directed by Scott, who never made another feature film, this was a passion project through and through. Fun fact, it was shot in Northern California. And the suburban setting gives it a quirky, grounded vibe despite the supernatural insanity. Why does that matter, you ask? Well, it captures the 80s obsessions with both zombies and the fear of technology. VCRs were huge. Both. I mean, they were huge, like physically huge. Plus, they were huge because everybody wanted one. And there was this underlying paranoia in the 80s about screens, TVs, computers, everything. They were taking over our lives. The Video Dead leans into that, making the TV itself the villain. It's like a cautionary tale for anyone binge watching late at night. All you Netflix viewers, you know what I'm talking about. So let's break down the plot. Don't worry, I'm not going to get into too many spoilers or anything right now. We'll dig into that a little bit later. The movie kicks off with this writer. He receives this package, right? It's a TV, right? This writer, Henry Jordan, he plugs in the TV, this old creepy TV set, and it's a black and white. The zombie movie starts playing. It's called Zombie Blood Nightmare. Now, the TV won't turn off, and soon the zombies crawl out of the screen into the real world, and chaos ensues. Yeah, chaos. Now, we're going to fast forward a little bit here. The TV ends up with a new family after Henry meets a grim fate. Actually, the delivery drivers go back to pick up the TV because they delivered it to the wrong place, and they find Henry dead. Now, the new family that has moved into this house we're going to meet here is Zoe and Jeff Blair, two siblings living in a suburban house. Jeff, who is a teenage slacker, becomes obsessed with the TV, while Zoe is just trying to survive high school and now apparently the zombie apocalypse. Now, let's rewind here a little bit here. Our first introduction to Zoe, right? She's in a taxi cab going to, and this whole interaction with her and the cab driver is, I don't know, funny. I guess you could say it was funny. I had laughed. I laughed the first couple of times I watched it. The cab driver asked, "Is this the place?" And she's like, "I don't know. Is it the address? It's your house, isn't it?" "Yeah, but I've never been there." "How's it your house if you've never been there?" "Well, actually, it's my parents' house, but they've never been here either." And this whole thing. And apparently their parents are like in Saudi Arabia is what they keep saying. So I'm guessing that's playing something about the 80s in Saudi Arabia there, you know. If you're an 80s kid, you understand. Now, the zombies that we're talking about here as well. Oh, and our first introduction to Jordan, or not Jordan, Jeff, the teenager. Wow, it's just, I think he wears the same outfit throughout the whole movie as well. I think, if I remember correctly, I don't know, but yeah, one of the things that caught me is that they're sitting down for dinner. They got this big house. I guess they're waiting for their parents to come back from Saudi Arabia or something. I don't know. But they're sitting down for dinner and they're eating cans of pork and beans, you know, and they're sitting down like, oh yeah, this is a big ass meal. Sitting down. But I'm not going to lie. I went through my share of pork and beans as well. So, you know, but the zombies, right? The zombies aren't your typical shamblers either. They're cunning. They talk and they've got a weird sense of humor. There's even a bizarre love story subplot with a zombie bride. And this plot is a mix of absurd and creepy with moments of pure 80s cheese. It's like there's this scene where this guy is fighting off zombies with a chainsaw and a mullet. Dude, that's 80s. It's all 80s, baby. Now, the pacing, it's uneven, but it's only 90 minutes long, so it doesn't really drag too much, right? And the real star of this movie is the concept. There's a TV that is a portal to horror. It's ridiculous, but you can't look away. It's kind of like that train wreck, you know? You got to watch until you finish this. You have to. Now, let's talk about characters. The Video Dead isn't winning any Oscars for acting, but the cast brings a scrappy energy. Jeff, who's played by Rocky Duvall, is your classic 80s teen. Rebellious, a little dumb, and totally unprepared for zombies. Now, Zoe, played by Roxana Augustin, is a smarter sibling, but she's not exactly Ellen Ripley. The real standout, though, are the zombies themselves, especially the garbage man zombie, who's got this creepy taunting vibe. The performances are, let's say, enthusiastic, right? You can tell the actors are having fun. Even if the dialogue's clunky, lines like the TV's possessed or they're coming out of the screen are delivered with such earnestness. You can't help but smile. The zombies, though, steal the show. They're not just brainless monsters. They've got personality, which is rare for 80s zombie flicks. One even tries to dance. Now, the human characters lean into archetypes. They got the clueless teen, the skeptical adult, the quirky neighbor. But it works because the movie doesn't take itself too seriously. It's like filmmakers said, let's throw every single horror trope at the wall and see what sticks. And somehow a little bit of it did stick. There's this whole thing where they talk about zombies, and if you're happy about it, about them being there or something like that, then there's no big deal. There's a scene here with Zoe sitting around the kitchen table with all these zombies, but she's happy, she's not afraid of them. So they're like just sitting there and, she's like, oh, should I get you something to eat? You want something to drink here? And it's just kind of odd. Now the soundtrack of this is it's pure 80s goodness, synth goodness. It's not John Carpenter level, but it sets the mood, and you'll be humming that creepy theme long after the credits roll. Trust me, I did. 2 days later, I'm like, what the hell was that? Why am I humming? What is this? And I remember now. So what is the video Dead trying to say? On one level, it's a fun zombie romp, but dig deeper. And it's a commentary on media consumption. In the 1980s, TVs were becoming the center of the home. And there was this underlying paranoia about what we let into our lives through the screens. Zombies represent the mindless violence and horror that we consume daily, literally coming back to bite us. Its legacy? It's a cult favorite among horror fans for its sheer audacity. And you won't find this on any best of list, but it's influenced modern films like The Ring with its cursed media trope. If you're into so bad it's good cinema, this is essential viewing. It's available on some streaming services or old VHS formats if you can find it, if you hunt it for it. I mean, you'll be able to find it out there somewhere, I'm sure. That's it. That's all I really got for the Video Dead, this 1987 classic, cult classic anyway. If you've seen it before, drop your thoughts and your comments, on social media or in the video. Let me know what you think. And we're heading into the spooky season on my podcast. We're doing all zombies all month. But that's it. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me. Let me bend your ear for a while. Till next time, sleep well, love peace, and if it rains, let it be purple. And that's gonna do it for the day. Thanks for hanging out with me and let me bend your ear for a while. Ain't no time for bad shine. And until next time, don't forget. You're wrong.
Later, Tater.
This concludes our broadcast day. Good night, and God bless America. Get all the spookiness you can handle this October by subscribing to Mom and Pop Video Shop on YouTube. You can also find Retro Movie Geek on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you dig up your podcasts. And remember, spooky is as spooky does.